Previously, for every single device that I mentioned from the first webinar and this webinar, every single device falls under a per purchase model. That means you straight out buy the device, you set up for your end user, and then you just sell it to them. That's it, done deal. What if you're doing a huge multi-branch or multi-site deployment? One of the questions from a sales perspective, not an engineering perspective, is the total cost outlay. That's basically how much money that I'm going to put out to get all my sites up and running. They really like our solution. They love SpeedFusion bonding. They love our active hot failover. But because they're deploying 500 sites, they have to pay 500 devices upfront, not including your service charge and setup costs. So what we've done is we realize that our end users are sometimes constrained. So we set up something new called PrimeCare, and the PrimeCare will be asked on the test. So what is PrimeCare? PrimeCare is an annual subscription that allows you to buy a range of services for a single price. So the keyword is subscription. From an accounting term, that's called operational expenditure, or OpEx. So for devices that you have to buy outright, we call that capital expenditure, or CapEx. So OpEx is the new Coke. Everybody's looking at OpEx because they want to do more with less money, or they have a fixed budget, but they want to do even more than what they can afford to do. So let's take a quick look at how PrimeCare works. So in a conventional model, when you're selling a solution to your end users, one, you sell the device. Two, you sell X many years of warranty that will follow the device. Most of our deployments are between 3 to 5 years before they do a review, and then they might retender. For example, the company's growing and they added more personnel, so they need to expand. So between 3 to 5 years, you would sell a device with at least a minimum of 2 additional years of warranty. Plus, if you're selling some devices, there might be optional services such as bonding. Like, for example, the Transit series has an optional bonding license. It is bonding capable, but you have to pay for an additional license. So you're doing 500s, that's a lot of money. So what we did was, PrimeCare, we bundle, and we allow our end users to pay a portion of the total cost of operation, a total TCO upfront, and they pay a bigger portion every year. So how much do you actually pay? If you take this total cost, PrimeCare includes SpeedFusion enabled services like bonding, in-control 2 access, SD-WAN control access, warranty plus, it's not on the slide, not this slide, a Fusion Hub peer license, and you end up paying less than 50% of all upfront costs. And then every subsequent year, you pay a portion. Angus, that's a great question. Let me copy that to all attendees. So Angus asked a question related to PrimeCare. Does PrimeCare include the replacement of the unit as a failure of the same type or a possible of a newer type? Okay, that's a really great question, and we can answer that actually. So PrimeCare includes standard warranty. That's the same warranty that you have when you buy the device during the first year, or you buy the warranty for the second and third years. So it will fall under whatever policy the standard warranty is, and which is the device, if it's defective or faulty, you must do a diagnostic report, send that report to us, we will review it, and then we will authorize a replacement. Now there's a trick. You have to send the defective unit back to us before we send the same unit to you. Okay, that's part one of Angus's question. What if you want to replace it with a newer type? If the particular model has been upgraded or replaced, so I mentioned we never end of life anything, but if it has been replaced with a newer model, you would get the newer model for that year. So here's a better slide that's more sales oriented to explain what PrimeCare includes. So basically it includes warranty, SD-WAN controller, SpeedFusion services, and Fusion Hub license. Sean, your question was again to the panelists, and I'm going to share it. So Sean just wrote this question. Does PrimeCare cost more after the 5 years versus CapEx? Possibly yes. And that is technically more revenue for you. We price it out roughly on an average of a 5-year deployment. Most enterprise usually will review and they will do an upgrade. And at that time, they can choose to stop their subscription. They just don't pay for the 6th year. And then they can just purchase or tender or renew their deployment. And then they can choose how to proceed. They can keep maybe 30% of their infrastructure under PrimeCare because they don't need it, but their core network and their larger branches and their larger stores or deployments, they can upgrade those. So yes, we don't constrain. Hi, Kwok, your question, great. Thank you for sharing with all of our attendees. Which country does this application, does this apply to? Global or just select a country? It's global. And what devices will be supported under PrimeCare? So let's take a quick look. So the Transit Mini and the Transit Duo are available as both CapEx and OpEx models. And I will tell you right now, you really pay a fraction of the upfront cost with everything enabled. And for this year, we launched UBR and Balance 20X, which I talked about in the first webinar. So these 4 devices right now are available for partners to engage in business under a subscription model. You will more than likely pay less than 50% of total upfront cost per device per branch. And it helps you to continue business through a simulated loyalty program because your end users, they will just pay like less than 20% every year of the total cost for subsequent years. It's between like about 15 to 17%. And how does that help you from a commercial perspective, not even a technical perspective? Let's say you have a budget of $100,000 and right now you just committed 40% of it. That's $40,000. You have $60,000 left over from the end user to A, expand that network, or B, just do a little bit more service and give them back that rebate and let them pay for it next year. They can use that money to grow their business in many significant ways, such as hiring better employees, looking at other infrastructure requirements and things like that. It will not diminish your business. If in fact of anything, we've seen it as a business growth accelerator by using PrimeCare. Jeremy, your question. Can they upgrade to upper model hardware and stop paying the existing PrimeCare and move to new PrimeCare with new hardware? Yes. So let's pretend that you started with a single LTE solution, the Transit Mini. Okay, it provided failover for your 50 sites because you had existing WAN services already. And then you realize that your customer, at the end, after you did the deployment, you realize that they're looking to wean off or cut off the hardline WAN and they want to go to pure mobile LTE, but it doesn't have enough bandwidth because you're on single. Yes, you can stop the PrimeCare subscription, you keep the device, we just end of life it, and you just begin over by paying for the first year of the new PrimeCare device, such as a Transit Duo, UBR, or Balance 20X. My recommendation, I would, depending on your needs, if you have customers who do not know what they're really looking for, but they have an idea that they want to expand in the future, at minimum, look at devices with twin LTE. You know why? You can buy the twin LTE device today. You can plug in their physical hardline WAN, enable one LTE, and then you can enable the second LTE as a service later on. And that's up to you how you charge for the service. If you understand what I'm saying, if you're from an MSP background, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Tobias, what will be the estimated time for replacement, including shipment? Is there an extended SLA like 24 or 48 hours, or do we need to offer such a service ourselves to decrease the downtime? Now, that's a warranty question, actually, and I will answer that now. I will talk about it more in depth in the third webinar session. So let's go through it really quick. Under standard warranty, you have to produce a diagnostic report for us to review, because some of the errors in the device are user settings, for example, or not even related to our device. For example, the WAN line went down, or maybe someone cut your antenna wire and things like that. So we have to have a diagnostic report to pinpoint if the problem is a carrier service, or if it's a third-party device related, or if it's our device related. If it's our device related, we do require you under standard warranty to send the device back. Now, if you want to, you can. If you want to have advanced hardware replacement, that is an additional warranty that you can buy. So there will be PrimeCare extended warranties with advanced hardware replacement in the future. For our CapEx devices, we have that. We have standard warranty and extended warranty with advanced hardware replacements. If you have an SLA policy of 24 or 48 hours, I'm just going to tell you exactly how to do it. You should be keeping a 10% inventory stock. So if you're buying at minimum, let's say you're buying 1,000 devices, you should keep like 10 or 15. You should keep at minimum a 1 to 2% backfill, just in case, if you have to sign that kind of policy. So Reach, you have a question. If the customer, I'm going to share it with everybody. If the customer has a model that is end of life, so do we have a solution to trade up for replacement? Yes. So if it ever happens, and I mentioned twice already that we don't end of life, but if it ever happens where a device is no longer available, yes, you can allow a trade up for a similar device or a better device, not a less featured device.